here today talking about Birds of Paradise. Saw it yesterday and loved it.
Hmm.
Um, Now this, the story started out as a novel, Bright Burning Stars. When you were given a copy and you sat down to read it, what was it that spoke to you and made you think like, yes, this is a project I want to get on board with?
So I had been trying to make this other very sort of heady art film for a while, that was sort of coming together and falling apart and very kind of hard to find financing for. And then I was given this book and I was like, I had no interest in making a YA dance movie or anything like that, but I just started reading it and I couldn't put it down. It was like absolutely a delicious, addictive read. I think I read it in a day. And I realized as a filmmaker that this was such a cool opportunity to perhaps tell a story that would be really gripping and a bit more commercial and accessible, that I could still put my own stamp on as an artist and as a filmmaker. So it was something that I knew I could, get off the ground and get a green light for, but also still elevate and find some deeper levels for myself as a filmmaker.
I think you already knew who your leads were going to be. So then as a writer, does that help with helping flesh these characters out, with those actors in mind?
It's something I love to do and actually would love to do more of, to write for actors that are already attached, because you can really picture them in your head and tailor the characters to their voices. But also then as a director, I can be writing ways in which I know I can push and challenge them and help them get to the next level of their craft. And so, particularly with two younger up and coming actors, it was such a fun opportunity for me as a director and a challenge. I really thought to myself, like, can I break two new big movie stars? I knew they had the potential there, and I wanted to write roles that would give them a way to really showcase what they could do.
And in terms of, adapting the book, how do you go about, deciding, what absolutely has to stay and what you can get away with sort of tweaking slightly?
It's difficult because the book had, more story than the movie had room for. And I tried to give myself just a lot of freedom. It's a very liberal adaptation, actually. I really kind of just took the characters and the tone and the world of competitive ballet and tried to make it my own. And luckily, I had the blessing of the author to do that.
And were you that familiar with ballet before you stepped into this world?
Not at all. But that I like, as a writer, I think the sort of the research part is one of the most fun stages. So it's quite fun for me to look at something as an outsider. And I do come from, I don't really have a dance background, but I played a lot of sports growing up. And I'm certainly competitive. And so I just liked the idea of exploring dance through the lens of, almost like a boxing match.
I think this was one of the films that sort of was so close to wrapping production, and then COVID hit, and you guys had to go on a hiatus. What was the experience like? Sort of returning after all that time, and how did you kind of keep yourself going and knowing that this was going to come
Mhm.
back again?
Well, we got shut down when we were really kind of, as a cast and crew, we had really found our stride and really found our momentum, and we were going into like a final week of these really ambitious, big, stunt-filled dance sequences with 200 plus extras and everything, all the stuff that you really can't do safely in COVID. So it was really a difficult challenge to figure out how we were going to be able to get back to set safely, and how we were going to come up with scenes we could shoot that would finish the movie in a way that felt authentic to the film and felt satisfying, because there was just no way we were going to be able to achieve safely some of the stuff we had planned. So it was I tried to embrace it. I knew, first of all, every time you get to make a movie, it's a gift. It's an incredible privilege. And so I tried to come at it with an attitude of just being grateful that we had that chance and that Amazon was going to support us to go back and finish the movie. And knowing that, I tried not to be very precious about what had been my plans before, and had to kind of throw everything out the window and rewrite the script a bajillion times, and just kind of look at it like an opportunity to solve a cool puzzle as a writer. And then I will say, for the actors, they had a tremendous challenge because they've done all this work for their characters, and these are like really like raw, emotional, intense parts. And they didn't have the benefit of getting to wrap and then shake the character off and go home. Instead, they had all this stuff still going in their hearts that they couldn't put down until we finished the movie 6 months later. So it was a huge challenge for them, not to mention the fact that they needed to keep training. So it was a lot of work for all of us, but I'm really proud of what we were able to achieve. And I think in some ways the movie it became something I never expected because of COVID, and this could be hindsight rationalizing, who knows? But I feel like maybe we even made a better movie because of COVID. So who knows?
I mean, one of the things I really loved is the visual style of the film. You've got these structures with these, like, big windows, and it's sort of old world, and then you've got this, this modern avant-garde sort of jungle like club that they all hang out at. What was your thought process in terms of the way that you wanted this film to look?
When you look at the main dance studio, for example, I told my production designer Nora I wanted it to feel like a sterile, almost scientific lab, where, like, we were in this like perfect light box where any mistake could get noticed and you're really under a microscope. And I wanted the world of the jungle to be the complete polar opposite of that. That is like pockets of darkness and what lurks in the unknown, and the beautiful chaos of nature, and what surprises you. So that was kind of very intentional. And I liked this notion that as these two characters are coming of age and going through their journey, that those worlds start to kind of bleed into one another and overlap and blur.
Well, thank you for your time. I can't wait for everybody to get to see this film.
Thank you. So good to talk to you again.